If you've been looking for a seat pad for your rower and you're wondering which one you should buy, well, this is the ultimate breakdown guide to the best seats that I think you might be able to find. All right, I'm gonna be honest, I've never used a seat pad when I've rode. This is gonna be my first time ever trying a seat pad. I may have in college for a short period of time had just like plain foam, but really never used a seat pad. So this is gonna be my first test. I'm trying these things for the first time today to tell you whether or not they're good, they're bad, they're ugly. Now, also a disclaimer on this, we do have an affiliate relationship with Vapor Fitness. After we talked about that phone mount, which we didn't have a relationship with them then, and I just came to love that thing, we got a hold of each other and started to chat. So they did send these seat pads for this video. So thank you to those guys. I'm gonna have each of these linked separately in the description below so that when I say V1, V2, V2 XL, V3, you know what I'm talking about and you can actually like go find the actual one that we're talking about. It does help us and we do earn a commission off that at no extra charge to you. So just want to make that known and clear before we even get into this thing. But with that being said, I'm honestly going to take a look at these because I've never used one. I want to try it so that I can give you guys real feedback as to A, are these any good? B, what's the difference between them all so that you can know the first time you decide to make a purchase, what you're getting yourself into. If this is your first time here, welcome. I'm Shane Farmer and this is Dark Horse Rowing, where you build the life that you want to live and we just happen to use rowing usually to get you there. So the discussion of seat pad versus not seat pad, it often comes down to a comfort level as well as how much time you're going to spend on the seat as well as how you've interacted with the machine before. So often, for example, the position of your pelvis can have an impact on if your tailbone rubs on the seat. Some people experience kind of that rubbing tailbone, which can create some sores on the backside. Otherwise, if you just do long marathons or you do even hour-long rows, it can get a little bit uncomfortable sitting on your butt for that long, especially if you're like me and you have absolutely no cushion back there. At times, it can feel like you're just kind of sitting on bone. And it doesn't feel good. So with that being said, let's just jump right into it. I'm gonna open up the box, let's see what's in there, and you'll get the first crack at what each of these things has to offer, what they look like, what's the difference, and which one you should choose. All right, let's see what came in the box. All right, V1, version 1, PU core. Then we got version 2, V2, SBR core. Then we've got V2 version 2 XL SBR core. Then V3 version 3 memory foam. Ooh, then we've got the one that matches the phone holder and a bright pink one. I like that, that's nice. Oh, and then we just copious amounts of these guys, these beautiful silicone foam holders. But that's not what this is about today. Let's talk about these and find a winner. All right, first up, V1, version 1, PU core. So this one's from Hornet. This is a Hornet Water Sports. What do we got? Well, what I'm feeling is a relatively minimal gel inside. Over here we have like a tacky, nubby surface that's gonna help grip to the seat. So I'm assuming that's gonna definitely help with this not slipping off of the seat. I'll let you take a look at that. So you can see that grippiness there. Feels, you can see the thickness of this. And then let's just check so you can see any springiness to it. Springs right back to life. Definitely feels like kind of a light pad. I would consider this kind of your, like you just want a basic pad, nothing really aggressive. You don't want it to really impact the feel too much. You can see this guy can fold up pretty easily, fold it in half. And it does, even on the table here, it grips. It grips. I can't get it to slide. So that's a good thing. So that's the V1 version 1 PU core. Next up, V2 version 2 SBR core. So let's see what the difference is here. Okay, so this, interesting. All right, you've got the same grippiness on both sides, which I'm gonna guess number 1, it's gonna help you so that it doesn't slide on the seat, but also you're gonna probably grip to this, which was, I'd imagine, why you've got the same texture on both sides. See if you can get a look at that. Okay, so this is a different core, it feels like. If I'm comparing this to the last one, this one feels a little bit more robust, like it's got a little bit more spring to it. The other one felt a little bit more deadening. This one has a little bit more spring, just based off of my feel. we kind of give it the same test, definitely springs back to life. So also Hornet on this one. This is a Hornet seat pad. Yeah, this just feels like more dense, more springy. So for what that's worth, whether you like it or not, that's just my feeling on this one. So initial assessments, there's the thickness on it. And then just to see it up close, you're getting all of these little shiny lines are all kind of tacky, grippy lines. That's what you're feeling there. So there you have it. That's breakdown on V2 version 2, the SBR core. Next up, the XL, the monster. I'm guessing this is gonna be the same as the last one, but just larger. So, yep, you're getting the same thing, same feel on both sides. This is just slightly larger. We'll see how that actually plays out when you set it on the seat and whether or not drapes over the seat, but this is just a larger version of the last one. So you can see the two against one another, V2 and then the XL, but they're both basically the same thing. Let's take a look at the thickness side by side. Okay, so this one's actually thicker too. Like perhaps they doubled the thickness. So not only is it wider, but you're also getting slightly thicker, the same core material in between the two. So larger in size, larger in cushion, same outer, which is looks like a neoprene with kind of this tacky ribbing on it. I'll get there so you can see that. So it is grippy on both sides here. Next, the big Kahuna. This is the one I've been most interested in because, well, it's just so big. It's big. So what do we got here? Well, this is memory foam as opposed to the other, which is a gel. So it does not have the tacky on both sides. I'm assuming then this is the downside that goes on the seat. And sure enough, yeah, it's moving the table. So, whew, yeah, it actually even, I don't know if you can hear that, but there's like a rip to it when it comes up off of this smooth surface. So from here, you're getting the same grippiness on this side, but look at the thickness of this thing. That's gotta be 2.5 inches maybe. And if I can, if I can squeeze it. Yeah, you see how slow that is to return? So that's that memory foam. I'm assuming that the thickness on this is because like once a memory foam condenses, right, it's not gonna really spring back over time. So the longer you sit on it, I would think the more that that foam is gonna compress. Let me get an actual tape measure and let's just measure how truly thick this thing is. Okay, so the actual thickness of this, I was wrong. I was way off. This is let's call it 1 3/4. So that's 1 3/4 inches thick. There you go. 1 3/4 inches thick. This is also Hornet. This is the memory foam version. I'm kind of intrigued to really try this and see how it compresses down once you start sitting on it for long enough. And this guy's just fun. This is back to the Vapor Fitness. This is the same color as the phone mount that I absolutely love. So this is the phone mount that I use. These guys match, so inherently I'm already interested because now I can kind of finesse my machine to look the same. So I get the lime green or the highlighter green. Now this is the same silicone feeling, so you can see. Okay, so that's 1/4 inch. And what this looks like is basically just a cap that almost sits on top of the seat. And you can see it's the same mold. It has the same dip, the same rise right here as the seat itself. So this just becomes an overall seat cover that slips on top, gives you 1/4 inch of that silicone cushion. And we'll have to see how this one actually feels versus the others because we're talking about totally different materials, but I gotta give it props. I love that it would actually match the phone mount. Okay, and finally, the same thing, but in bright pink. That's an amazing color. So you're getting the same thing, nothing super different here. You do get that Vapor Fitness name on the front. So yeah, check this out as far as the color goes. If you really love this color, it would be nice to see them make the phone mount in the same color, but at the moment I don't believe they do, which is kind of surprising. You would think they would want to make this in the same pink so that you could match all around. But right now these things are only in the black and the green that I've seen. Maybe that's going to change soon, but at the moment that's the deal with these. Okay, let's give an actual rundown to what these things look like now. I'm going to try and keep it quick and just move through them so that I can give you my actual feedback as I'm on them for the first time, so that you're gonna experience it at the same time that I am. First up is our V1 seat pad. Now I already did the breakdown. This guy has the little pebbly grips on the back and then just the neoprene, I believe, that is on top. and it is the one that has a bit of a different cushion inside. So let's just go ahead and give this a try. Now, I'm assuming that this notch is always gonna face the back, similarly to how the seat itself. Yeah, let's just assume that's how it goes. Okay, from there, I'm gonna strap in. All right, initial feel on this. It's giving me more cushion than I was expecting it to give. Doesn't feel like it's deflating, like it's as in I'm crushing it and I'm not getting any cushion. Let me take a few strokes. Okay, so as I move, I'm noticing that as I swing the hip open, I am starting to get a little bit of a, like I'm flattening it a bit. It's supportive. It definitely has an improved feel than just on the seat. I would say that it's almost a non-existent feel, so it just doesn't have a big impact right now, which is kind of nice. If you're looking for something that's hardly there, then that might be a good choice for you. As far as movement, yeah, I mean, none of these grips are gonna allow it to move back and forth. I can't get it to budge one way or another. I have a feeling we're gonna see that same feeling throughout all of them. So I'm just gonna kind of say that's almost a moot point because they all seem to have some sort of grippiness factor. So again, that's the V1. I believe that's kind of the thinnest of all of the ones that we're looking at. And I would give that, I'd give that a positive rating. There's nothing negative about it. It just seems like a very simple pad. Nothing crazy. I'm getting a little bit of cushion and it's staying in place. Number 2, this is the V2. We switched to a new kind of cushion inside. Now again, that's the first seat pad that I've ever used, so this is gonna be my evaluation against that one. Let's go ahead, and this is the V2 with that different core inside. Again, this has grips on both the front and the back, or top and the bottom. Okay, first flush. It's already more cushiony than the other one. So I'm already feeling more cushion, and that it feels almost more distributed to me. On the other one, I felt like I had almost a focus point of pressure on the seat, as in like I could tell where I was squishing it down. This feels like it's distributing that a little bit more. Let me take some strokes. Okay. Yeah, I think this one, for me, this one wins out. It starts to take a little bit more of the brunt of the swing here as I'm moving back and forth. I am not noticing any real impedance in my hamstring, which was one thing I was concerned with. You know, depending on where the location of the seat pad goes, is it gonna feel different in my, where my hamstring meets the seat, because now I have an elevated surface, so maybe I was gonna get a little bit more dig. That doesn't seem to be an issue. I mean, it's grabbing my shorts as I move around because I have the grip on top as well. Overall, I would now rank this above that V1 in my personal opinion. So let's try the same V2, but XL now, which is the larger, and I'm gonna guess double thickness. So here we go, XL. Guessing that this is gonna be bigger than the seat. Oh, you know what? It actually is, it's just slightly, but really not that much bigger than the seat. So I was worried it was gonna be draping off. It really isn't. You're getting the same kind of lip around this as the other guy. I already feel the thicker cushion underneath me, and it obviously feels supportive, but this one's making me feel a little floaty on top of the seat instead of connected to the seat. So I'm definitely feeling a little bit more separated than I was on the V2. So let me just take some strokes. Okay, so I feel a little bit like I'm riding on air. This would be an amazing seat cushion if I were just on a long piece. I just feel like I would feel so supported with this thing, and like it was not gonna go anywhere as far as like me slowly, you know, binding down on the cushion or the cushion starting to give way. This definitely just feels really nice and cushiony. I don't know how to say it more than the other two felt like they were just distributing pressure and giving me a little bit of alleviation from, you know, bony butt sitting on the seat. This one actually finally feels like I truly have a cushion underneath me. Now again, that's up to your standards to determine if that's good or bad. That's just the feeling that I'm getting from this. I feel like I finally have an actual cushion underneath. Okay, so that's the V2 XL. Let's Now I'll move on to the big kahuna, the memory foam. Let's see how this stacks up to the XL. So size-wise, wow, okay, so this has an even larger footprint than the XL of the V2. So this is the V3 memory foam. Slightly larger footprint. I'm gonna guess that's because it has such rigid sides. Let's go ahead and throw this on. Neoprene top again, so not grippy. Wow. That is basically the same thickness as the seat itself. Ooh, okay. All right, so I sat down and I'm instantly starting to settle into the cushion. I weigh 190 pounds and I can feel it starting to depress underneath me, and it's taking shape. It's like it's giving me an imprint of what my backside looks like. Not impressive, hint hint. Wow, I already feel very elevated on the machine. And this is interesting too, because this is what I was talking about when I first got my hands on it. It's definitely changing my angle of approach. I don't know, my head might even be out of the shot now. It's lifted me up, so now, because I'm sitting higher, it means that it's gonna be easier on my ankles. So a couple reasons you might like a seat like this. If you have ankle mobility issues, this elevated seat is going to clear up some of that adhesion or that resistance that you're gonna feel in the ankle. As well, if you have really tight hips and you feel that your hips get like really bound down when you get into the catch position, this is gonna help with that too, because it's gonna drop that foot. You gotta note, however, that it is going to change your angle of approach, because now as you drive, you're gonna be pushing a little bit more vertically instead of horizontally. So this may end up giving you a little bit more posterior chain engagement, because I'm gonna find probably more heel drive than toe drive or ball of foot drive. Let me take some strokes. Let's see how it feels under movement. Wow. Okay, this one, for the first time, I'm feeling like something's kind of getting in the way of my hamstring when I straighten the leg. Like there's definitely something there. Now, maybe it's not getting in the way, but there is, I definitely feel it. Now, over time, if I row long enough with this, will that start to just depress because I spend so much time with my legs straight? Probably, because that's what's happening with my butt and getting those imprints in it. So it changes the angle. I definitely feel like I'm sitting higher. If I had to row a marathon, maybe I'd consider this, because I just feel like I'm not gonna worry about my butt comfort at all with this thing. Now, as soon as I stand up, I just wanna show you the pad so you can see, because I don't know what the indent is gonna look like, so let's just see it together. Yeah, okay. So it literally took, it took the shape of the seat and my legs. I mean, that felt nice. Do I want that in an intense or one of my regular workouts? Probably not. That's probably a bit much for me. But if you like long distance stuff, you spend a lot of butt in seat time, that's gonna feel pretty nice. Like if you are an endurance rower, you like to do your marathons, you like to do your halves, you find that you get, maybe some hamstring insertion issues, or if you're heavier and you want a little bit more cushion, this is gonna probably be a nice pick. I just don't see like the competitive or somebody who likes the high intensity stuff enjoying this, because it's gonna change so much of your physiology on, or your biomechanics on the machine. So, all right, that's that guy. That's interesting. Next, I've been really excited to try this one. I don't know why. The color looks great. So let's just slip this on. This is the silicone slip cover on the seat. So it's basically the same form. I have maybe a 1/4 inch of silicone. All right, first flush, it feels the same. It doesn't feel like I have a cushion under me. It just feels like it's taken maybe 5% of the edge off of the hardness of the seat. Yeah. I'm trying to think of a good analogy for this, but it really is. It's just like a 5% reduction in hardness on the seat. Let's take some strokes, see how it feels. Yeah, so what I'm noticing immediately when I normally row, I can feel my glutes and my hamstrings kind of like moving around underneath me as I swing back and forth. This just lightens it. It's still happening though, whereas with I think almost all of those pads, I wasn't feeling that same like movement of my glutes or my hamstrings kind of shifting as I rock open and close. I still have that feeling here, but again, the best way I can say it, 5 to 10% reduction of that rigidity and that hardness. So Now I'm not gonna review this one because it's the same thing, but so now we're looking at, you can basically choose your color on this. You can choose, you know, kind of Concept 2 green or Dark Horse green, however you want to call it, and this pink, which I really like the pink. Maybe that's gonna be one that I stick with just to make it pop on these videos. Okay, so let me just wrap up kind of my thoughts about everything we've got here. We got a lot to choose from. My overarching thoughts. Number one, the nothing there. I just want like light, invisible cushioning. This is your option. This is the V1. Number two, that V2. This is just a step up from that V1 where it's a little more there and you get slightly more distributed cushioning and you're gonna feel like maybe there's a bit more underneath you, maybe a bit more comfortable, I would say. So both of these two, I'd still be comfortable using for some of my more intense, shorter distance workouts as just a barrier between me and discomfort. Next, the XL. This guy I would use for anything, you know, 10,000 meters to 5,000 in one sitting because I'm getting a little extra cushion, get definitely a thicker cushion on there and it covers more of the seat. So I'm gonna call this kind of my mid-range option. This guy is kind of perfectly suitable for that, I would say. If you are larger and if you're, you know, in your weight loss journey and you decide that you want something that's a little bit thicker perhaps so that it can handle a little bit more weight, then this may be a good option too. The Big Kahuna Memory Foam, this is definitely your half marathon cushion. If you just have a 5-hour piece ahead of you or just boatloads of, pun intended, that was an accident, so not intended. That was a good one. If you just have a ton of volume that you put on to your machine, you're on your butt a lot of the time, this is gonna be a good option. I would use this for if I have to row a marathon at some point, I'm gonna choose this guy. Next up, these are just, I'm gonna call these your like spruce up cushions. Again, they're even less there than the barely there than the first one. You're getting just that small knockoff of pressure, but they look cool. I will give them that. They definitely look cool. And because the seat takes up so much space on this machine, you get this thing and the phone mount together, ooh, that's gonna look sharp. You get that green and that green. Your machine's gonna pop a little bit. But as far as cushion goes, I'd say these aren't gonna really provide a whole lot. They're just going to knock off a bit of that edge. These are gonna be more for just making your machine look really cool and personalizing it. So at the end of the day, again, I've never used a cushion, so this is all a first for me. My personal feelings on it are that most of the time I probably still won't be using a cushion because that's just not my personal preference. It's not what I've done since I started rowing in 2005, but it was actually kind of nice. And maybe over time I will get more comfortable with using a seat cushion and just stop using like my, you know, hard-headedness to not use one. It's kind of like the glove discussion. So many people have gravitated towards using gloves. I've never used them. When we're on the water, we typically don't use them because you don't want to lose tactile feel of, you know, the oar handle, but on the machine, does that really matter? So the decision really has to be up to you. Do you want a cushion or do you not? And then making that decision of, what's the best one for you to choose? Are there other companies that make them? Sure, but you have 5 very good options here to choose from, and I really can't think of what more you would need outside of going from barely there to the same thickness as the seat, but just in memory foam, and then all the way down to just colorful silicone covers for the seats. That's gonna be up to you what's most important and what you need to get out of it. I also wanna add an asterisk to this. I wanna make sure that you understand a seat cushion is not necessary for your performance. This is a comfort discussion, and this is all about deciding what you want on your machine and what you want to get out of your machine. So make no mistakes, you don't need a cushion to get a workout. Will it help alleviate some of the pain points of being on the machine and sitting on your butts for a period of time? Absolutely. So you get that and you have to make that decision, what's important to you, but just know you don't need a seat cushion so that you can get your workouts done. So here's my question of the video to you is, number 1, do you use a seat cushion? And number 2, what seat cushion do you use if you use one? Drop it in the comments below because I'm curious if there are any that I'm missing and that I should do in a greater roundup after this video. If you got some value out of this video, make sure that you hit that subscribe button so that you get alerted when we come out with new videos that are gonna help orient you when you are on your rowing machine. And with that being said, make sure that you check out this playlist of the best beginner workouts that we've got to offer.